Missing masterpieces materialize and reflective relief from a lack of light. Those stories are coming up today on CNN Student News. But we're starting with election results and some votes of note from Tuesday. This man, Bill de Blasio, is set to be the next mayor of the nation's largest city, New York. He's the first Democrat elected to the mayor's office since 1989. In Virginia, a close race for governor ended in victory for Democratic candidate Terry McAuliffe. Virginia doesn't allow governors to serve consecutive terms, so the current governor wasn't running for re-election. Just the opposite of New Jersey, though. Republican Governor Chris Christie was re-elected Tuesday night. It was a big win, too, with exit polls showing that Governor Christie got more votes than his opponent from voters in almost every age group. Some analysts think that display of electability, Governor Christie's ability to get support from voters, sends a message about the next office he might run for.
One unmistakable takeaway, Chris Christie now has the premier brand in Republican politics. Look at this map. New Jersey, known as a reliably blue state in presidential politics, well, in sweeping to a landslide re-election, Chris Christie turned almost the entire map red. Electability will be his argument now as he makes the case he's a strong Republican contender for 2016 in the presidential race. Chris Christie can argue, I won the women's vote, I won the men's vote, no gender gap for me. He will also argue powerfully that not only did he carry the white vote big, but among African Americans, even though his Democratic challenger won the African American vote, Chris Christie, 21% of the African American vote, more than double his take from 4 years ago. Compare that to Mitt Romney. And compare that to John McCain. Chris Christie will say he can broaden the Republican base. Even more importantly, in making that argument, the electability argument, Chris Christie actually carrying the Latino vote in the state of New Jersey with a slight majority there. Again, think about Nevada, think about New Mexico, think about Florida, other presidential battleground states. Latinos, a critical constituency. Chris Christie will make the case, I'm the more electable Republican. If there is a dent in the electability argument, it is this. In his home state, as he won a sweeping re-election, voters were asked, what if you had Hillary Clinton versus Chris Christie in 2016? Well, Hillary Clinton carrying a narrow victory over Chris Christie. A bit of a dent in the electability argument with that poll number.
After the states we covered in our first story, the ones in today's roll call might look a little familiar. New Jersey, the Jackson Memorial High Jaguars put the Garden State on today's map. Virginia, how about the Wolverines from Woodgrove High in Purcellville, Virginia? And New York, specifically the city of Hamburg and the Hamburg High Bulldogs. Thanks for watching, everybody. Every month, the city of Greece, New York holds a public board meeting to talk about the town's government. Since 1999, those meetings have started with a prayer. But now the U.S. Supreme Court is considering whether that policy is unconstitutional. Yesterday, the court's 9 justices heard arguments about whether or not the board meeting prayers violate the Establishment Clause. That's the part of the First Amendment that says Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. In other words, government won't endorse a specific religion. City officials in Greece say they aren't. They say they've invited people from a wide variety of faiths to offer invocations. But the plaintiffs in this case argue that the prayers at city board meetings have been overwhelmingly Christian. During yesterday's Supreme Court hearing, some justices discussed whether lawmakers and courts should advise faiths on what to say or what language is considered religious. The Supreme Court's ruling is expected by early next summer.
It's time for the shout-out. What do Marc Chagall, Canaletto, and Gustave Courbet have in common? If you think you know it, then shout it out. Are they all UN Secretaries General, artists, Nobel Peace Prize winners, or novelists? You've got 3 seconds. Go. Chagall, Canaletto, and Courbet are all famous painters. That's your answer, and that's your shout-out.
All of those painters have works in a unique art collection. It was in Germany, but it wasn't in a museum or an exhibit anywhere. In fact, no one saw the paintings. They were hidden away for about 70 years. And we're not talking about just a few works of art. We're talking about more than 1,300 of them. The secret stash was discovered when police raided an apartment in the city of Munich. In addition to Chagall and Courbet, officials discovered works from Picasso, Matisse, Renoir, Toulouse-Lautrec, and other famous artists. Some of these paintings had been considered lost or destroyed. Others had never been recorded. Authorities believe most of the art had been looted by Nazis. In the 30s and the 1940s, the group confiscated thousands of artworks from galleries or private collectors. Other pieces were stolen from Jewish families during the Nazi era. The apartment where this collection was found belongs to the son of an art collector who historians say dealt with the Nazis. He claimed the works were destroyed during World War II bombings. An art historian said the paintings were in relatively good condition, a little dirty, but not damaged. Experts say the collection has a value, quote, so high it can't be estimated. Fascinating stuff. Next up today, we're heading to Norway for a bright idea whose time has come, even if it took a century. This is a story about a place where, because of the local geography, even when the sun is shining, the town is in the shade. City officials came across a solution when they took some time to reflect and shed a little light on the situation.
It's like flipping a switch on the sun. A small town in Norway is getting some much-needed sunshine thanks to a 100-year-old idea.
We take the mirror and reflect the sun down to us. So it's a crazy idea, but it's funny, and I think the people like it.
Welcome to Rjukan, where they've installed 3 giant mirrors on the mountainside overlooking the town. You see, Rjukan sits in a narrow valley surrounded on all sides by mountains. From September to March, the town of about 3,000 people lives in perpetual shade, but not anymore.
It's important to have the sun in wintertime, and in this town we didn't have the sun 6 months a year in wintertime, and the people up here they want to have the sun.
The idea was first proposed in 1913 by a local factory owner, but it went nowhere. A local artist reintroduced the idea recently, and now the mirrors have finally become a reality. The high-tech mirrors are solar and wind-powered. They adjust automatically, constantly following the sun, catching its rays, and reflecting them down into the town square. At a cost of nearly $850,000, some call the mirrors an expensive gimmick. But most of the town's residents like the idea. And local officials are hoping the mirrors bring not only sunshine to the town, but put it in the spotlight for tourists as well. Mari Ramos, CNN.
Trouble for the NFL's Miami Dolphins off the field. More details have emerged since we told you about this earlier this week. Richie Incognito and Jonathan Martin are both offensive linemen for the Dolphins. Martin suddenly left the team last week, and other players, including Incognito, have been accused of harassing Martin, making him pay for expensive meals, getting up from the lunch table when Martin sat down with them. The Sun-Sentinel, a newspaper in South Florida, said that Miami Dolphins coaches reportedly asked Incognito to toughen up Martin, and that Incognito, who's accused of using racial slurs against Martin, threatening him and bullying him, might have gone too far. We haven't heard directly from Martin. We have heard something from Incognito, who was suspended from the Dolphins earlier this week.
You know what, I'm just trying to weather the storm right now, and this will pass.
The NFL has launched a formal investigation into all this. Meantime, former Dolphins running back Ricky Williams played alongside Incognito and got along with him. Williams says the NFL is a different type of environment than what outsiders are used to, that to play in it, you've got to be tougher.
You can talk about bullying, but for me, this whole idea of bullying, it makes someone a victim. And what I found with victims are just usually victimizing other people. And so, like, you can't really have a victim mentality and be successful in the NFL. It just doesn't happen.
On Facebook, Jonathan wrote, "The only problem I find with this is one guy was a bully to the other, and the other one was too much of a coward to stand up for himself." We're also hearing from some of you. On our blog, Brian wrote, "I think Incognito took it too far. Why would you say racist remarks and threats to your teammate?" Ricky Davis was a big Red Sox fan, but he doesn't live in Boston. Davis is from Tennessee. And since he can't get to the real Fenway Park without making a road trip, he built a fake Fenway on his property. Well, at least the outfield wall, including Fenway's famous green monster. Davis says he started the project at the end of the regular season and kept working as his team made its way to the title. His wife, kids, and grandkids all helped out too. So instead of this being a tedious project, you get the whole family involved and do it the Fenway. Bet they had a ball. Plus, when you're doing all the work yourself, no one can go on strike. We're out. I'm Carl Azuz. Have a great day.